Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all. Thank you so much for joining us here today on a Saturday morning for our fourth National Convention. We are heartened to be in the company of like-minded community leaders and advocates at our event today. Let us begin proper by reciting Surah Al-Fatiha with the intention that Allah bless this gathering and He guides us in our speech and actions, and our actions today and our thoughts and our discussions will benefit the community and our country, inshallah. Al-Fatiha. The AMP Convention, a tradition. AMP is a model organization in community leadership. That is the vision of AMP, and our National Convention is an integral part of our work. The convention by AMP is a tradition that has spanned 3 decades, where we mobilize professionals, practitioners, activists, and those with a heart for the community together and to think of strategies and solutions for the challenges faced by our Muslim community. The tradition began 32 years ago with our very first convention, which was attended by 500 professionals who wanted to play a part in the thought leadership of the community. Back then, the Malay community was plagued by many issues, including poor performance in education, high divorce rates, drug addiction issues, and so on. The convention offered a platform for these issues to be discussed and debated and solutions to be proposed. It is important to note that the formation of AMP was a direct result of the very first convention in 1990. 3 decades later, the essence of the convention remains. It was and still is a platform for us to collectively brainstorm for ideas for the community to help them face the challenges ahead. In planning for this convention, we remember the efforts of those before us, who had the same passion and desire as we do to see our community thrive. We are deeply grateful to our founding members, many of whom are here with us today. They are the ones who first mooted the idea of the convention and kick-started this enduring effort. We also take this opportunity to remember the late Mr. Yang Razali Kasim, who was one of the founding members of AMP and the first deputy chairman of AMP. He was also the chairman of AMP from 2004 to 2006. Through the years, he remained involved and concerned about the development of AMP and the community. He regularly met with the AMP board to share his thoughts and ideas, which we deeply valued. It is our hope to continue our founding members' legacy with today's convention. We may have made some tweaks and adjustments, but the objective remains the same. We are here together today because we want to do what we can to help think of ideas and strategies to create a community that is successful, dynamic, and thriving. Seeing is believing, they say. If that was the case, Singapore wouldn't be where we are today. I would like to encourage us to reflect further on that statement. Perhaps we need to believe first, before we see the change. Similarly, we must believe in our community. We, as community leaders, must believe that our Muslim community can and will continue to strive and progress. Our societal challenges have evolved. As a young, developed nation, the concerns we experience now have added complexity. The problems we face cross boundaries, ethnic boundaries, socio-economic, and religious boundaries, just to name a few. Hence, our leaders need to move beyond our own institutions' interests and be able to thrive in the intersectional space. We believe that this is a crucial space that our community leaders must fill. Being a Muslim is a key aspect of our identity, but we remain cognizant that our Muslim community does not live in a vacuum. We live among fellow Singaporeans and other communities. Hence, we need to be confident of who we are so that we can navigate our relationships well with our Singapore society. So how can we do this? We believe by working on the fundamentals. As community leaders, we can find courage to empathize, collaborate, and build alliances together. We can build our competencies to thrive at the intersections. This year's convention takes on a slightly different approach from previous conventions. In the past, we would come before you to present strategies and recommendations that the panels had already brainstormed. We would then discuss and debate this with you, the convention participants, to get your endorsement. Our approach is slightly different this time. We want to ideate the strategies and solutions together with you. We want to focus on co-solutioning. We want to hear from what your real-life experiences are. We want your expertise, and we ask that you dig deep and share your knowledge with all of us as we craft the strategies for the community together as one. I see many familiar faces here today, many of whom have decades of experience in the Muslim community space. There is much that we can learn from these veterans, and hope they will share their deep knowledge with us. I'm also heartened to see newer, younger faces here among us. It is important for our youth to step forward and share their thoughts with us about what their concerns are for our community and about what they want for our community. And when they do, we need to listen to them. After all, they are the voice of our future. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress enough the importance of mobilizing talents within the community. We need more of us to step forward and give back, especially in the form of thought leadership for the community. This is where the AMP Convention presents a good opportunity for professionals, practitioners, academics, youth, and activists, as well as anyone who has an interest in catalyzing the progress of our community to do their part. I'm also heartened that so many of you have stepped forward to participate in the convention and to share your thoughts and concerns. I hope that your active participation in the community will continue. I hope that we will always have a vested interest in our community and remain involved in steering our community's progress in the years and decades to come. It doesn't have to be in the form of events like the convention. It can also be in the initiatives that you come up on your own that serves an unmet need in the community. I've seen many of such initiatives mushrooming over the years. All these efforts, big or small, will contribute to the success of a community, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin our discussion for the day, let me also take this opportunity to record my appreciation for our guest of honor, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Mr. Lawrence Wong, who will be joining us later in the afternoon. I would also like to thank our donors and sponsors for their generous contribution. In particular, I would like to thank Saleh Marikan Foundation and CIMB, our diamond sponsors for this convention. My appreciation also goes out to our panel members who have been integral to the planning of the convention. They have worked tirelessly, helping us to research, plan, guide, and strategize the content for the convention. They are the ones who have generously shared their intellect and expertise to enable the rich discussions that will take place today. Finally, I would also like to thank our staff who form the backbone of AMP and this convention, providing support to the convention panels and who are working hard to ensure today's event impacts our community positively. With that, I look forward to the honest, frank, and thought-provoking discussions later. I'm sure you are too. It is my hope that you will find the AMP Convention a useful platform for us to learn from each other and work with each other to strategize for our community. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Badrun.